Hey, I'm Lindsay Lyman. I worked almost 12 years at Amazon and saw so many brilliant and successful overachievers burn themselves out and leave their jobs because they're so stressed and anxious. But guess what? Having a successful career does not have to be at the expense of your mental sanity and personal time. There's an easier way, and I can show you how. Let's do this. Hey y'all, how's it going? All right, today I want to talk about how do you describe your skills and what you're good at to a potential employer for a potential other job. This is really common challenge we have if you've been in a particular job, especially if you worked at a company for a long time. What happens is we feel like we don't know how to talk about our strengths and our skills and what we're good at outside of that company culture. So for example, at Amazon, we have things like OP1 and 6-page documents and these things that are weird and particular to Amazon. They don't necessarily directly translate to other companies. And if you've been in that environment for a while, it's very challenging to feel like you know how to explain what you're doing to someone else that doesn't oversell it or undersell it or sound weird and cheesy. So that's kind of what I want to talk to you about today. What's a way that I recommend you go and do that? Okay. First thing to think about is usually what you're really good at, what your skills are, you don't even realize it's a skill because it's just so natural. It's so innate. It comes so easy to you. So the first thing I always recommend to people is go ask a friend, go ask a coworker, go ask those people you work with day in and day out that you like and trust and say, hey, what would you say are some of my skills? Okay. This is a great place to start to just get an external perspective. You may not get great information depending upon who you ask and how willing they are to be honest with you or how they're able to articulate it. That's okay. It's a great place to start. So go ask your friends. Next, I want you to write down what are some things that just come easy to you. Again, this is not like what have you gone and delivered, but it's more so what are things that don't stress you out or cause you anxiety that sometimes do for other people or that used to and don't anymore. It could be things like you're comfortable leading a meeting. You do very well under pressure when there's an escalation. You know how to communicate up to leadership. You're willing to have hard conversations and say the awkward thing in a way that makes it safe for people to talk about, right? Write down those things that just come kind of natural and easy to you is the second part. Next, I want you to go and get a sheet of paper or open up an Excel chart or however you want to do this, but we want to make 5 columns. Okay. And the first column, I want you to write down what are all the things you've done that you've accomplished? These are things that you may potentially want to put on a resume. Now, you don't need to get as detailed and worry about the words and the data to back it up. Like eventually on your resume, yes, you do. But for this exercise, just write down what are the things you did. You delivered this project. You launched this feature. You brought in new clients. You hit these KPIs. You PM'd this complex project. You generated more leads. You created a process. You led the team to deliver the big thing. You presented at a company all hands. You save time, money, like whatever the thing is. Go write down all the big accomplishments you would potentially want to talk to someone about that you've done in this role. Now, in the next column for each of those things, we're going to answer the statement, if not for me, then ... Okay. So if not for you, what thing would have not happened or gone wrong or been a problem or not worked out on that thing you delivered? So it could be you would have missed delivery because no one was thinking about this one thing. Maybe it's the company wouldn't have hit their sales goal because the old way of doing things didn't work post-COVID anymore. Maybe you would have had low adoption rate of that product you launched because it would have launched with a bad customer experience. Okay. If not for you, like what was the part you played in it that was key in helping it deliver? And again, it doesn't have to be these big complex things. It could be something like we would have missed deadline because the teams were not communicating and understanding the impact of their work on the other teams, right? We wouldn't have been able to get unblocked by leadership because we wouldn't have had a clear way to communicate up the chain what the issue was. Okay. What was the key part you played in it? So first column, what was the thing you delivered and did? Second column, if not for me, then. The third column, what was required to do that thing that you did? Here's some examples. Maybe it required you to look around corners, to be willing to fail, to be quick to learn new things, to push back on leadership, to make hard trade-offs, to learn how to work with difficult stakeholders, to find creative solutions, to challenge the status quo, to be the only one in the room that disagreed when everyone else didn't. Maybe it required you to deprioritize rhythm of the business work like an MBR. Okay. What was required to do that thing you did for part of that big thing that the overall team delivered? Okay. The next column for each of those things, I want you to answer, why was it hard? It required you to do something specific. Why was that hard? Let's say, for example, you had to work with some difficult stakeholders. Why was it hard? Well, maybe it was hard because the two teams have a past history of not getting along and things escalate, and there's a lot of just bad blood amongst the team. Maybe it's hard because the solution that needed to be implemented, you guys didn't have the capacity for. Maybe it was hard because you didn't have all the data needed to make the best decision, so you just had to decide and be willing to take the hit if it backfired. Maybe it was hard because the product that your company was developing and you were supposed to go and sell, the client didn't actually want. It wasn't solving their problem. Maybe it was hard because everyone on the team was burned out. Maybe it was hard because what was being asked, there's no way you had enough time to deliver that with the current headcount available. Okay, why was it hard? And then the last column I want you to think about, why was it important? So we've identified this big project you delivered on. We've identified something specific that you did, right? If not for you, then we've talked about what was required of you to do that thing, why it was hard. Now we want to talk about why was it important. Here's a couple examples. It's things like if you don't have an easy to use customer experience, it doesn't matter how awesome your product is, people won't use it. Why is it important? If we can't find new ways of operating, we will stumble because what customers want keeps changing. And now we have a way of knowing what those customer needs are better, right? Why is it important? Because you have to be able to find creative solutions because things never go according to plan. Because you need a leader, someone that's willing to just put a stake in the ground so that we can move forward. Because if not, we stop moving and we spin and we burn out. Maybe it was important because if we don't make fast enough decisions, it has a ripple impact on our ability to deliver, and now everyone misses deadlines. Maybe it was important because these two groups have to work together in order for the thing to function and work, and now it's a healthier relationship. Why is it important? Because if we don't set proper expectations with leaders and just tell them what they want to hear, it's setting everyone up for failure, leaders and the team. Why is it important? Because if you can't find efficiencies and ways to scale things, you will just continue to grow your tech debt at a higher rate than you're willing to hire, and the growth of your company will stop, right? So you want to find what are those key things that make it important? And then you want to look for those themes. What's the thing that you're really good at? Are you good at finding efficiencies, bringing people together, creating processes, making hard decisions, pushing back, finding creative solutions, learning new things? What is it, that skill that you bring to the table that you have a couple examples of? Because here's what I think. If you're looking for a new job or a new project you want to own, there's thousands of people that could do it. There really are. And I really believe everyone has the ability to learn what's needed to go and deliver and do the job if needed. But what you want to talk about when you're talking about your skills is you want to talk about not just what you did, but who you were while you did it. Because every team needs that person that brings the fun, that brings the efficiency, that brings the hard conversations, that is willing to push back, that is willing to push people harder, that's looking at the bigger picture, that's looking around the corner. All of our teams need all of those things, but one person is never all of those things. So you want to get clear on who are you? What are the skills? What are the strengths you bring to the table so that as you're looking for that new opportunity, they will be able to better understand how you could potentially fill the gap they have on their team, or realize they don't have that gap and it's maybe not a right fit. So like I said at the beginning, this can sometimes be tricky because usually what we're really good at, what our true strengths and skills are, they're very natural and they're second nature to us and we don't even realize it's a thing. So start by asking external people you know, like, and trust for some input. Try to identify them for yourself as well. But if you want some help, I'm happy to help you do this. I've helped thousands of people craft and better explain what is their strength, what is their skill that they bring to the table. Schedule a coffee chat. I'm happy to help you figure it out as well. Go to the link in the show notes or lindsaylymancoaching.com/chat to schedule that. Get on my schedule. I do think I'm a couple weeks out, but go grab some time if you want help with this. Sometimes we just need that external perspective, but I'm telling you, you have a lot of skills that you bring to the table, and it's not just what you can produce. I think the biggest skills, your biggest asset, is who you are, why you do it, because who you are is pretty amazing. All right. You're awesome. You got this. We'll talk soon. If you listen to this podcast and feel heard and seen for the first time in a while, this is just the beginning. I offer a limited number of free coaching calls. On this call, we'll talk about what's going on, and you'll leave with specific ways to start feeling better today. So listen to that inner pull and let's chat. Grab some time on my calendar before I'm booked up. To schedule a call, click the link in the show notes or go to lindsaylymancoaching.com/chat and sign up. You got this.